I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of, is love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of, is love. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of, is love. I choose love, love, love. Love, love, love. I choose it, love, love, love. Love, love, love. I start my day with peace. When I start my day with peace, I feel that sweet release of peace. I start my day with peace. When I start my day with peace, I feel that sweet release of peace. I choose peace, 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 peace. Peace, 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 peace. I feel it, peace, 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 peace. I choose peace, 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 peace. I start my day with joy. When I start my day with joy, everything I do is infused with joy. I start my day with joy. When I start my day with joy, everything I do is infused with joy. I choose joy, joy, joy. I feel it, joy, joy, joy. Every day it's joy, joy, joy. I'm choosing joy, joy, joy. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day
glad that you are joining us today. We have a really exciting service today. Our theme for the month is going further together, and we're exploring this idea of beloved community at an even deeper level. And then my topic today is dig deep. So, before we begin, I would like to ask if you are here in the room to go ahead and silence your cell phones. Make sure that they are not going to make noise on us, but no need to turn those off. If you have a comment or a thought or an idea or a quote that you want to drop in the chat of the live stream, even though you're here in person, we invite you to do that. Also, I have some announcements. So today, after the service, about 12, we'll probably do 12:45 so that people can go eat and come back. We are going to be showing Zootopia, the movie that we have been talking about this whole month, here in Haight Hall. So if you live close by and you want to come join us for that, it's going to be really fun. It'll start at 12:45 after the Sunday service today. So feel free to go out, grab something to eat, and come back, and we will be showing it on the big screen. One of my favorite movies, I'm sure y'all can tell as I've been talking about it this month, and it has so many really awesome science of mind and metaphysical themes in it that we can glean from this kids movie. Also, next Sunday is Halloween, which is my most favorite holiday of the entire year. So I invite all of you to dress up for the Sunday service. Either dress up as one of your favorite characters from Zootopia, or just an animal, because all animals live in Zootopia, or anything else that your heart desires. Come dressed up for Halloween next week. I want to see all those amazing costumes. I will be dressed up. Rev Ryan will be dressed up. I haven't necessarily talked anybody else into it yet, but it's happening. So come dressed up to service next week. Let me see. Also, we were supposed to do New Member Sunday this Sunday. However, we had some technological difficulties, and our New Member Foundations class from last Wednesday did not happen. And so instead, we are going to be offering that New Member Science of Mind 101 class again this coming Wednesday from 5:30 to 8:30 on Zoom. Anybody is welcome to join, whether you know Science of Mind or not, whether you're interested in becoming a minister or not. If you just want to learn more about our beliefs and what we're about, please come to this. It's on Zoom, 5:30 to 8:30. You can find out all about it at celebrationcenter.org. That's this Wednesday, the 27th. And then we will be welcoming new members next Sunday, which I'm extra excited about because when we take the new member photo, y'all will all be wearing costumes, and it is going to make me so happy. So please join us for that. And if you are interested in becoming a new member, contact me. You can contact me at revchris@celebrationcenter.org. And then finally, our annual meeting is going to be November 14th after the Sunday service. And we will be getting more information out to y'all so shortly on filling out those forms to become voting members. And you must be a member in good standing, which you can do if you're not already next Sunday. And also have filled out our committed giving program form. And I'm going to be talking more about that during the message today. If you are joining us online, whether you're here for the first time or you're with us every week, we would love for you to say hi to us in the chat. So please drop in and say hi. Tell us where you're from, what you're up to, what you're loving this morning, what you're grateful for. And we are so glad that you are here and part of our community. And so now we have all angles this morning. So we have Jen Fay, Hannah Sora, Nancy Newman, and of course Lynn Hollyfield is our music director. We have a whole tech crew back in the back now. So thank you so much to our tech crew. Rich Kurashevitz is our practitioner on platform today. And we have a special guest musician, Tret Fury, and Lynn is going to tell us more about her.
Yeah, I am super excited to have Tret Fury here today with us. Her career spans 5 decades, and she's an incredible singer-songwriter. Her music is well known throughout the whole women's music circuit, and a lot of her songs are about social justice, and they just have a beautiful wisdom and message to them. So you're in for a treat. Oh, and yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
that's
sorry, Liz.
okay.
Yes, tell them.
And so, and I'd like to make an announcement that tonight, Tret and I have a concert together. And we're going to be performing at the New Deal Cafe in Greenbelt, Maryland from 5 to 7. So this is an in-person concert, but we've also set it up so it's live streaming, so you can tune in on Facebook and also YouTube. And I will put another message out on the CCSL group message. So I hope you can join us later. It's going to be great. Okay, we're going to do a song called Standing Like a Tree. Standing like a tree with my roots dug down, my branches wide and open. Come down the sun, come down the rain, come down the fruit to the heart that is open to be standing like a tree with the roots dug down, my branches wide and open. Come down the sun, come down the rain, come down the fruit to the heart that is open to be standing like a tree with the roots dug down, my branches wide and open. Come down the sun, come down the rain, come down the fruit to the heart that is open to be standing like a tree with the roots dug down, my branches wide and open. Come down the sun, come down the rain, come down the fruit to the heart that is open to be standing like a tree. We are the flow, we are the ebb, we are the weavers, we are the web. We are the flow, we are the ebb, we are the weavers, we are the web. We are the flow, we are the ebb, we are the weavers, we are the web. We are the flow, we are the ebb, we are the weavers, we are the web. Standing like a tree with the roots dug down, my branches wide and open. Come down the sun, come down the rain, come down the fruit to the heart that is open to be standing like a tree with the roots dug down, my branches wide and open. Come down the sun, come down the rain, come down the fruit to the heart that is open to be standing like a tree with the roots dug down, my branches wide and open. Come down the sun, come down the rain, come down the fruit to the heart that is open to be standing like a tree with the roots dug down, my branches wide and open. Come down the sun, come down the rain, come down the fruit to the heart that is open to be standing like a tree. Come down the love to the heart that is open, standing like a tree. Come down the love to the heart that is open, standing like a tree. Comes down the love to the heart that is open, standing like a tree. Comes down the love to the heart that is open, standing like a tree.
Good morning. My name is Rich Kurshevitz, and I am a licensed practitioner at this center, which is a welcoming community based on the principles of science of mind. And before we proceed further, we would like you all to read the vision for our center. We are celebrating spirit within and knowing the oneness of humanity. Thank you. welcome newcomers both here on and online. If you wouldn't mind, please identify yourself by raising your hand or sending a text online and tell us how you found us. Practitioners are trained and then certified over a period of several years to pray or treat by knowing and seeing the truth in any situation. We are available to all of you to assist in a practitioner session or prayer for something that you wish to change in your life or a loved one, or to express gratitude and continuation of something in your life or for others. You may submit a prayer request here on this green card, or on the website, or online through prayer@celebrationcenter.org. The Ministry of Prayer and each practitioner will pray on the prayer requests every day for a week. Today's reading is by Ernest Holmes from A Holmes Reader on Meaning. All things and events are rooted in some coordinated and intelligent principle which we call divine. Any name limits it. God is in and through all life, the cause back of it, the effect in it, the power through it, the law sustaining it, the impulse projecting it, and the unity binding it together. The system is a complete unity. Our lives are rooted in this unity, and our relationship to it is instantaneous and mutual. And so we pray. If you feel comfortable, please close your eyes and go within. Take a deep breath and let it out. Releasing all the cares of the world. Again, take another deep breath and release it. And know that as we breathe in unison, we are breathing in unison with God, the one power, the one presence, the one mind, the one life. God is all there is. God is omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent. God is love. God is immortal and eternal. God is the entire universe. And I am that I am. I and the Father are one. I am an individualized expression of the divine and one with God. The kingdom of God is here and it is within me. I am perfect, whole, and complete. And just as I am perfect, whole, and complete, each and every one is perfect, whole, complete, eternal, and immortal. I declare that in faith we speak our word in truth and manifest peace, love, joy, and abundance in all areas of our lives. I know that it is done unto us as we believe. I know we claim the peace and harmony of God and declare wholeness in our desired state. We declare that we are rooted in the divine as there is only one life. That life is the life of God, and that life is our life right now. All is well and very well in all our affairs through the faith and love of God that flows in us, around us, and through us, and is manifested through our faith by the law of good. God works through us as us. I'm so very grateful for our faith and the love of God in our lives, which is manifest in everything and everyone as the ever-present presence of God. I am grateful for the truth that sets us free. I'm so very grateful for all the blessings that manifest and will manifest through our acceptance of the gifts that have already been made and are ours as we speak our word. And I release my word unto the law where it is already known in the mind of God and is assured of fulfillment. This is the word of God and will not return unto me void. I do give thanks that this is so, and so it is.
I'll say that again. Good morning. I have walked through these hills just to carry these burdens away. I have wandered through these lands just to carry me further away from the killers, from the warmongers, from the demon that lives deep inside me, to the peacemakers, to the passion that will carry me further. And I have witnessed more than my fair share, and I've carried these burdens alone, and I have redressed as much as I dare, and it's carried me further along from the boasters, from the braggarts, from the demon that lives deep inside me, to the healers, to the passion that will carry me further. And I have been more Thank you.
So much. All right. Hello. I always love how when I welcome everybody, it's mostly empty chairs, but by the time I get back up here, there's a lot of people sitting here. It's good to see everyone. I'm glad to see you all. And if you're online, I'm glad to see you as well. So, am I on? I sound very quiet to myself. I believe you, Ivor. Normally, I'm kind of echoing in my own ears, but I'm not mad that I'm not. So, this morning, we've been talking for the last, oh my goodness, it's probably been 6 weeks now, about our committed giving program. And so today is the final day that we're going to be talking about this. And also, I would like to invite you, if you have not already had the opportunity to do so, to please fill out your committed giving form today. And you can do that if you're here in person. We have forms on either table for you, and you're welcome to do that, and then just drop those into the offering basket. If you are online or at home, you can go to celebrationcenter.org and just scroll down a little bit to upcoming events, and it's right there at the top, and you can click there, and it goes into the exact same form that we have here in person. It's just an online version of it. And so this committed giving program that we've been talking about is really, it all kind of ties into our budget and everything. So myself and the Leadership Council are going to be meeting on Friday to set our budget and our intentions for 2022. So it's a joint budget and strategic meeting. And what we've decided to do this year, instead of focusing on, pledging and giving money and all of this, it's not really about any of that, right? What it's about is the vision of our community. And so we repeat the vision every Sunday together. We are celebrating spirit within and knowing the oneness of humanity. And we have taken this big kind of lofty goal, I'm not even sure you can call a vision a goal, and we've broken it down into the areas that we feel like we would like to focus on as Celebration Center in 2022. And so, Ivor, will you pull those up? Oh, I should be over here, huh? So, those 4 areas are spiritual enrichment, and we talked about this is our own personal spiritual enrichment. So this is the going within and doing our own work, whatever that looks like to you and to myself, and then coming together and doing that individual spiritual practice collectively, right? So it's all about learning and growing our own spiritual roots and guidance. Next is center growth, and so this is really focused on what does it mean to be a center in 2021? How do we grow not only with people here in the room, but how do we grow online? How do we become this greater expression where we're reaching more people and more people are a part of this beloved community? Next is deepening connections. So once we have grown, this is all about the interconnectedness of us here within this community, within Celebration Center, and figuring out how we can come together and how we can deepen our connection and build our relationships with one another. And if you remember, I talked about that's not always easy because you have people really literally the only thing we have in common is science of mind, and sometimes not even that. And so it might not always be easy to come together, but there's always a way to do it and to truly deepen these connections and come together and find those viewpoints and be radically welcoming together. And then finally, once we've done our own personal growth, and then we've grown the center, and then we've reached out to one another and deepened our connection, then as a community, we reach out into that larger community outreach, out into the world, into the DC area where we are physically located, out into looking out and saying, what does the world need, or what do we want to give of the world? What is seeking to be expressed as Celebration Center out into the world? You can take that down, Ivor. Thank you. And so these are the 4 areas that we're going to be focused on next year, and I am super excited about this. So if that excites you also, then I invite you to fill out a committed giving form. This is just a way for us to, money is a tool. And when we know how much money, or we know about how much money we're going to have to work with as a tool, then we can set our intentions and we can look at these areas of focus and see where our budget needs to go and what our finances need to look like, so that we can be good stewards of that money that is coming into us through your tithes and your offerings and your talents and your love and all of these different ways. And then we can outreach and outpicture into the community in greater and greater ways of serving. So I invite you to fill out the committed giving form. I'm super excited about it. If you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, ideas, musings, anything, please feel free to come talk to me. You can come talk to me after the service. You can shoot me an email. You can, text me. You can send a carrier pigeon, whatever you would like to do. You can come to the church, although I often work from home. But if you come, just tell Ingy to call me, and she'll tell me to come up here. I only live 5 minutes away. So I'm super excited to be embarking on this 2022 vision with all of y'all. And, it's all about community, right? And so Starhawk, who is a, pagan teacher, says community means strength that joins our strength to do the work that needs to be done, arms to hold us when we falter, a circle of healing, a circle of friends, someplace where we can be free. And so that's really what we're building here, is this radically welcoming, inclusive community where we can show up and we can be authentically ourselves, and we'll support one another, and we will love one another, and we will grow together in this beloved community. And that loops me all the way around to Zootopia. Because if you remember, we left our fearless bunny, Officer Judy Hopps, who wants to be a real police officer and is a real police officer, but nobody else really sees her as that way. We left her building this relationship with this sly fox, with Nick. And they've gone on this adventure together. They have no resources and no support from any of the other police officers. Everybody thinks she's a joke. And yet here they are, Judy and Nick, this unlikely duo coming together. And it is the strengths of both of them coming together in this beautiful synergy that allows them to go on this journey and make all of these strides and find all of these clues to solve this missing animals case. There are 14 missing animals in Zootopia. And that's where we left off last week. Everybody remember? Everybody caught up? If you are completely lost, stay for the movie afterwards or watch it. It's on Disney+. I've seen it probably 25 times. It is one of my favorites. And so they've gone on this journey, and they're looking and they're searching and they're doing all these things, and they come to the next place in their journey, and they sneak in, and it's being guarded by timber wolves. And so Judy starts a howl. So she howls, and they all get excited, and all the timber wolves are howling, and they run past them and into this building. And Nick turns to Judy, and he says, "Clever bunny." And she kind of laughs and says, "Dumb fox," switching all those beliefs and those old unconscious biases that we have, right, on their heads. And they go in, and they're sneaking around, and they find all 14 animals, not just the otter that they were looking for, but all of the animals that were missing. And all of these animals have gone savage, and they are in cages. And they aren't talking, they aren't really wearing clothes, or their clothes are all torn up, they're savage. And then they discover that Mayor Lionheart, the mayor of Zootopia, is the one that has been hiding all of these animals away. And so, of course, Judy calls it in, and, the mayor gets arrested, and it's just really, he says, because he's not the one that made them go savage, he's trying to find out why they are going savage. And he is concerned because all of the animals that have gone savage are predators. And so he says, how do you think it would look for their lion mayor if everybody knew that the only things going savages were predators, right? So he's getting arrested, and he says, it was a classic doing the wrong thing for the right reason type of deal. That's what he says to the police officers as he's being loaded into the cop car. And Judy is so proud of herself, right? They've solved this case. They still don't know why the animals are going savage, but that's okay. She's found her otter. And everything, it seems really great, right? And so there's this really touching moment where they're holding a press conference, and Chief Bogo, the police chief, is going to let Judy speak for the press conference and tell them how she found these animals and all of that. And right before that happens, there's this really touching moment, and she gives Nick back the recorder pen she's been using to blackmail him this whole time, right? She gives him the pen, and along with it, she gives him an application to become a police officer. And she says, I think you'd make a really good cop, and I need a partner, right? And then she goes up and she gives this press conference. And what she says in the press conference is that they ask, why do you think these animals are going savage? And she stops and she says, well, maybe it has something to do with their biology. Because if you look, all of the animals that are going savage are predators. A bunny can't go savage. It's just the predators. And so maybe it has something to do with biology. And this causes a whole stir, as you can imagine. And so they lead her down, and she walks up to Nick, and she goes, there was so much going on. And Nick is very angry because she basically just said that it's in his biology to go savage. And so he says, do you think that I could go savage? And he raises his arms up, and she reaches for that fox repellent that's still on her tool belt as a police officer. And she takes a step back. And he goes, see, you are always afraid of me. And he storms out, and then she gets overrun with the press conference, and were you just attacked by that fox? And she goes, no, he's my friend, but the damage is done. And so then from there, the whole city divides. The whole city into predator versus prey, and more animals are going savage. They're all predators. They don't know what's going on. They don't know why this is happening. People are getting attacked. Everybody is scared, and there is just division and fear in the city. And Judy is looking around and she says, I broke the world. That's what she says. And she says it to Chief Bogo and the new mayor, Mayor Bellwether, who was the little lamb, the assistant Mayor Bellwether. And Chief Bogo says, oh, don't give yourself that much credit. The world was always broken. And so she can't take it. She goes home, dejected. She has ruined the world. All she wanted to do was make the world a better place. That's all she wanted to do. And instead, she broke it. The whole world is divided. It's really sad. There are peace protests being held by Gazelle, who is the gazelle that sings Try Anything, the theme song of the movie, played by Shakira. So you can imagine what Shakira would look like in gazelle form, and that is what this animal looks like. And what she says is, Zootopia is a unique place. It's a crazy, beautiful, diverse city where we celebrate our differences. And then this, in her protest, so this, the divisive, is not the Zootopia I know. The Zootopia I know is better than this. We don't just blindly assign blame. We don't know why these attacks keep happening, but it is irresponsible to label all predators as savages. We cannot let fear divide us. And then she says, please give me back the Zootopia that I love. So that's where I'm leaving y'all this week. Sorry, come back next week. And this week, to me, is the meat of this movie. Because there are so many correlations that we can draw to the world and what is happening right now in this movie and specifically in these scenes. Because I think, there's something called unconscious or implicit bias. Raise your hand if you've heard those terms. Yay! Oh, that's awesome. I'm assuming that everybody on StreamYard is raising their hand as well. So this idea of unconscious or implicit bias is, it refers to deep-seated either prejudices or, prejudices or favor for or against a thing, an individual, a group of people, and it is subconscious. And this is what makes it tricky. We don't know that we're doing it. And so often we will have very lofty goals and very lofty ideas of how we want to show up and what we actually believe is true. And yet this implicit bias has been deep-seated into our subconscious because of the culture that we live in. It's not our fault. There's nothing we can do about it. It happens no matter what we do. It's not always a bad thing. And it happens all over the place. And we tend to think about it with people, but we are constantly biased towards or against things. A great example is on Friday, Rev Ryan and I, which by the way, we are engaged. So that's very exciting. If you didn't know, I know a lot of y'all knew, but Rev Ryan proposed to me about a month ago, and I said yes, and my ring is getting resized, but pretty soon I will have that to show off to y'all. And they have moved here, because I know that y'all have, historically, y'all have had ministers come in and be here, and then they fall in love and they leave. And y'all, I should have known that I was going to fall in love, but I'm not leaving. So Rev Ryan has moved here, and we are committed. I am committed to Celebration Center, so just FYI. But anyways, so Friday, Rev Ryan and I went to dinner at Terry and Andy Murphy's house. And I had told Terry, she said, I'm going to make a beet salad. And I said, oh, Ryan doesn't like beets. And so she made this beautiful salad. She put the beets on the side. So we're sitting here at dinner, and I love taking Ryan to Terry and Andy's house because Terry asks the real questions. And I'm like, I didn't know that about you. I didn't know that about you. The whole time we're at dinner, right? And so Terry says, well, why don't you like beets? I didn't ever think to ask that. I love Terry. And Ryan says, well, one time when I was a kid, I thought that I was eating I thought that I was eating cranberry sauce, like the canned cranberry sauce that's formed in the can, but it was actually a beet slice. And it was so upsetting that I've never eaten beets again. And I was like, are you serious? I did not get my beet salad tonight because of 7-year-old Ryan once ate a beet instead of a cranberry? Like, really? So, and then Terry, I was just going to have a conversation later about it, but Terry goes, well, you should try a beet now, because that was a long time ago. And so Ryan did, and they said, well, God, what have I been missing out on? I like beets. So proceeded to put them on their salad, and we all had a good laugh about it. But it got me thinking, that's exactly how implicit bias works. And none of us think to question it. I didn't think to question Ryan. I have I have the opposite implicit bias towards macaroni and cheese. I believe that all macaroni and cheese is good macaroni and cheese. And I will eat macaroni and cheese that is not good and I do not like because it's macaroni and cheese and therefore it should be good, right? Have you ever done that where you're like, well, I don't really like this particular thing, but I like that, and so I'm just going to keep eating it, right? That's implicit bias at work. And it's not always a bad thing, but where it becomes challenging in community is when we have these implicit biases against people or groups of people, and we don't even realize that we have them. And so that's when the work comes in. That's when we get to look at, well, wait, why did I have that thought? Where did that thinking come from? And often it came from, it's not our fault. It's not a bad thing, but we still get to look at it. There was an academic paper written by Fine and Handelsman, and in it they say, we all like to think that we are objective scholars who judge people solely on their credentials and achievements. But copious research shows that every one of us has a lifetime of experience in cultural history that shapes our review process. And this happens immediately without us thinking about it. Every single person that we meet, everything that happens, every encounter, every experience. And so it's kind of like having these pre-built walls, these prefab walls up for people. And if we don't consciously become aware of them, then they're just there. And we haven't built them, they just are prefab, they're just already there. And so we get to knock them down and consciously become aware of them so that we can step over them and we can say, no, this isn't the truth. And I choose to be a part of this community, and I choose to open myself to diversity, and I choose to be inclusive even though my brain subconsciously chooses differently. And this was a really good thing, especially back in the day. Like, this was built into our brain systems back when we had tribes. And if you ran into a tribe member of another tribe, they would kill you. And so it was a really good thing that you could recognize your tribe members and automatically know to either run away or kill them first or whatever it may be. But that's not the society that we live in anymore. And so we naturally have an affinity towards other people who look like us, act like us, think like us, show up like us. And yet, that affinity doesn't necessarily mean that they're better. In fact, often it doesn't, and all of the research shows that the more diverse a group of people is, the more innovative they are, the more they are able to problem solve, the more they are able to come together, the more love that is available, the more community building that is available. And so we get to do this work. And this movie, Zootopia, is such a beautiful indication of that. And it's such a beautiful indication of how it's not our faults. There's nothing we could have done differently to not have this implicit bias, because it's just who we are. Sometimes we just don't like beets, and until somebody goes, well, why don't you like beets? We don't even think about it. And that's what happened with Judy, right? She was working with this fox. If you had asked her, she would have said, oh yeah, I'm inclusive. I know a fox, right? I hang out with a fox. I talk to a fox every day. And yet, that implicit bias is the reason that she went into the elephant shop in the very first, remember way back, Reverend Dan was talking about, he went into the elephant shop and she thought he was being sneaky. And so she followed him. Well, that's implicit bias. And, and then when he got upset, she immediately reached for that fox repellent. And even though, she had told her dad, I don't need that, she'd still taken it and put it in her belt. All of that is the little tiny things, the little tiny actions and decisions that we make that just are those little prefab walls, and they keep us just a little bit distant from people that we aren't so sure about. And this is, when I say we aren't so sure about them, our brains aren't so sure about them. Maybe I am, but my brain might be going, just a little wall, It's fine. You don't even need to know it's there. And so when I think about this idea of digging deep, what we get to do is dig deep and build and throw out these walls, dig these walls out and throw them out and dig deep into ourselves and dig deep into our thinking and say, why am I thinking this? Why was my initial reaction one of fear or distrust or, I wouldn't have done it that way, or judgment, or she shouldn't have worn that, or he shouldn't have said that, or why do they act like that? Whatever it may be. And we get to look at our thinking, and we get to question all of our thinking. And the more that we are willing to set down any shame or judgment of ourselves around something that is not our fault, and the more that we can step into, I get to think about my thinking. The one other thing that I noticed in this movie is that Gazelle says, this isn't the Zootopia that I know. And what's interesting to me about that is that she is a prey. And so she is the majority. There is 90% prey in Zootopia. We find out that stat in the movie, and 10% predator. So she is in the majority. And she says, this isn't the Zootopia that I know. The Zootopia I know isn't afraid of predators. And what's really interesting about that is that predators have experiences of prey being afraid of them long before this all came to the surface, long before there was division. They were having these experiences in the way that Judy's parents talked to her at the beginning of the movie about how you can't trust weasels and you can't trust foxes, right? And then her mom says, well, you play cribbage with a weasel. And he goes, well, yeah, but he still cheats. You can't trust him. And that weasel has that experience. That weasel knows that they're not quite trusted, right? And Nick tried to be, last week we talked about how he tried to be a member of the troop, and they wouldn't let him in because he was a predator. And so Gazelle, as a member of the majority, hadn't experienced the division before it rose to the surface. And yet that doesn't mean the division wasn't there. And so when we start to dig down, we might hit things and uncover things and reveal things and bring things to the surface that are really ugly or really uncomfortable to look at. But that's not bad. We cannot heal what we don't know is there. And so instead, when we see this division rising up, and I think we can see it, all of us can see it if we look out into the world like at all, I mean, take one step outside, it's not a bad thing that these things are rising to the surface, but it does mean that we get to do our work. And it does mean that we get to look at it. And the areas in which we are the majority, because we all have areas that we are privileged in, and we all have areas that have been hard in our lives. Both of those things are true. And those areas that we've had privilege, we get to look and say, what does not having privilege look like, and how can I support that group of people in these areas that I do have this privilege? We get to do the work, and we get to do it together. So that is the beauty of digging deep to me, and that is the beauty of this movie. And so I'm leaving you on this cliffhanger so that you will come back next week and you will dress up as an animal. I have not decided what animal I will be. I should have taken a poll. I should let y'all decide what y'all wanted me to be. Maybe you can, if you have an idea, tell me after the service if you're here in the room, or drop it in the chat of what character in Zootopia I should be next week. Keeping in mind that I only have 1 week to pull a costume together, so. And you know what's beautiful also about this movie is it's Disney Pixar, and so there's a resolution. And what I know is that the law of mental equivalence says that if there is a resolution in a Disney Pixar movie, then there is a resolution available to us here in the real world. And we are standing on that cutting edge, and we are a part of that solution because we are standing in this beloved community and choosing to continue to dig deep and do our work. And I'm so grateful to be doing that with y'all. And so now I invite you to pray with me. So if you will close your eyes and take a deep breath. And I know that there is only one thing, one infinite presence, one absolute existence, one eternal substance, one. That this idea of two is just an idea. That truly the reality is that there is one thing going on. This one thing that we call it so many names. We call it Mother, Father, God. We call it Spirit. We call it Allah. We call it Abba. We call it universal presence. We call it one mind. We call it by so many names, and yet all we are doing is touching on that infinity. Seeking to understand the infinite with our finite minds, seeking to understand eternity from the confines of time and space. And so we open to that which we already are. We open our awareness to that consciousness of all that is as myself, all that is as each and every one of us here present in Celebration Center. Each and every one of us is that one thing. There is no other option. When God sought to create the world, it looked around and all it could find was itself. And so therefore, all that it created out of was itself. And so here we are, God individualized, expressions of eternity, showing up as the infinite, as this finite moment in existence. as each of us, as human beings that are spiritual beings. And so knowing this to be true, what I know is that each and every one of us is radically welcoming to every single aspect of ourselves. That as we dig down deep into our own souls, that we welcome and embrace all of the parts and pieces and aspects of ourselves. That we continue to grow and deepen in our own authenticity, and in doing so, we continue to welcome and open to one another and to the greater community, opening more and more to this highest idea of the individualized expression of God showing up as every single individual, every single human on this planet. And I am so grateful that we get to do this work together. I am so grateful for this beloved community. I am so grateful for each and every person who has said yes to doing this work, to growing deeper, to having conversations, to standing up and supporting one another through all of the times, through the brilliant celebratory times and through the challenging and hard grief-filled times, that we are here for one another, and I am so grateful for it. And so I simply release my word. I let it go. I know that it is done because my word is God's word. There is no other option because there is only the one. And so I can simply let it go and let it be and watch it unfold and reveal itself out into Celebration Center, out into the world, out into everything that is happening, every experience, every expression. And so we say together, and so it is. And so, Tret, I would like to invite you up for another song.
I am sitting in this circle with my humble guides, surrounded by the ones I love, protected on all sides, breathing out and breathing in, holding all that's fine. Though the world around me shatters, I center on this time. For just one moment we are still, beneath the dark and the dreary. If we could shine a light so strong, we may not feel so weary. For just one moment we are still, beneath the dark and the dreary. If we could shine a light so strong, we may not feel so weary. Breathing out and breathing in, and holding all that's fine. protected on all sides. Thank you.
I love Tret's music. I've been to one of their concerts on Zoom, and I am so excited. I'm going to be there tonight at a New Deal Cafe in Maryland's Greenway, Maryland. Greenbelt, Maryland. Sorry, y'all all know the geography better than I do. Tonight from 5 to 7, and so I hope to see y'all there. And thank you so much, Tret, for being here this morning. So this is the time in our service for our gifts and our offerings, and please know that your mere existence on this planet is a gift, and so therefore your presence here in our community is such a gift to us, and I am so grateful that you're here, and your time and your attention and your love and your presence and the way that you show up every week, or if this is your first week, the way that you show up is so beautiful. And we are, a tithing community. We tithe 10% of everything that we bring in, and we run off of your tithes and your offerings. And so if you feel called to give, you can give. If you're here in the room, we have our baskets on the side, or you can go to celebrationcenter.org and click on Give, and it will take you to our secure online website where you can give online as well. And so I invite you to just metaphorically bring all that you offer to the center up to your heart and say our offertory affirmation with me. I open my heart to give and receive the blessings that our spirits promise to me. As I do, the entire universe conspires to give me an abundant life, and I open to accept it. And so it is. And now we will have a blessing from Rich.
We now bless all the gifts that are donated or coming into the center, as we know they are given from the Spirit and from the love within. These gifts are the energy of God in the universe, and they come to the center and go back out to the community and come back to us multiplied. We know that all the prayers submitted and in submission are already answered as they are thought and written and believed. Everyone speaks their word, making a request that is already blessed and divine. And these prayers and affirmations are set in motion right now. I do give thanks that this is so, and so it is.
We're going to do a closing song. This is Down in My Soul by Jan Garrett, J.D. Martin, and Esther Nicholson. I hear the music.
I hear the music
Down in my soul.
down in my soul.
I hear the music.
I hear the music
Down in my soul.
down in my soul.
I hear the music.
I hear the music
Down in my soul.
down in my soul.
And the whole wide world is my home. Each day's a new day.
Each day's a new day
Down in my soul.
down in my soul.
Each day's a new day.
Each day's a new day
Down in my soul.
down in my soul.
Each day's a new day.
Each day's a new day
Down in my soul.
down in my soul.
And the whole wide world is my home. I love the silence.
I love the silence
down in my soul.
Down in my soul.
I love the silence
I love the silence.
down in my soul.
Down in my soul.
Yeah, I love the silence
I love the silence.
down in my soul.
Down in my soul.
And the whole wide world is my home. I feel the power.
I feel the power.
Down in my soul.
Down in my soul.
I feel the power.
I feel the power.
Down in my soul.
Down in my soul.
Yeah, I feel the power.
I feel the power.
Down in my soul.
Down in my soul.
And the whole wide world is my home. And the whole wide world is my home.
I like that song a lot. Thank y'all. And so I just send us out into the world, knowing that the whole wide world truly is our home and that each and every one of us is showing up for one another as this beloved community in all that we do. And I am so grateful. And so it is.